Hi, my name is Kathrine Geoghegan. I'm an artist living in County Kildare and I'm originally from Dublin. My work is concerned with the environment, habitat and conservation, and I often paint plants with native plants within their natural habitat. I get right down at ground level, I peer through the undergrowth, and what you see in my paintings is an insect's eye view of the world. So for the past year or two, I've been walking around the North Bull Island in Dublin Bay, taking inspiration from the different habitats. So the North Bull Island is a sand spit in Dublin Bay. It's about 5 kilometres long and 800 metres wide, and it's growing. Its beginnings can be traced back to human intervention when works were carried out in Dublin harbour to prevent silting. And of course, a short time after that, a sandbank appeared. It grew, it expanded, nature took its course, and from its embryonic beginnings 200 years ago, it has developed into a biosphere of important habitats right here within our capital city. So I've been following the life of mud flats, sand flats, grassland dunes, freshwater marshes and salt marshes throughout the seasons, following the lives of migratory birds, some that come here to winter from as far north as the Arctic Circle, and others arrive in early summer from warmer climates. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about each habitat. How lucky are we to have this treasure for plants and animals and wildlife and birds on our doorstep? We must do everything we can to protect this special place. So my wanderings around the island have resulted in some paintings which will be shown in an exhibition in September 2020. It was to be in April, but it was postponed. The name of this exhibition is Shifting Sands, a Startling Evolution. So we're down here on the mud flats. Just to tell you a little bit about the structure of the island, the main backbone of the island is made up of the dune ridges, and on the seaward side of that is Dollymount Strand, beloved of Dubliners and a great place for a walk. And then on the leeward side we have a lagoon which has formed. So the Santry River and the Nanakan stream both flow into the lagoon, bringing with it nutrients and sediment. And then at low tide, mud flats and sand flats are exposed. They're very, very extensive, as you can see here. And there's an abundance of food here for all the birds, and you'll see them feeding in great numbers. So the plants here are fascinating. First of all, you have the marsh grasses, which you can see in front of me here. And one particular plant, which is totally fascinating, and is probably the most important plant on the island, is glasswort. So to give it its proper name, Salicornia. And you might know it as sunfire, because you buy it in the supermarket as a delicious, tasty accompaniment to seafood. But what glasswort does is it traps the sediment in its fleshy root system. And over time then, it raises the levels of the mud flats and the sand flats. And so the salt marshes can be formed. So we're down here at the very start of the salt marshes here, and you can see it's low tide and the sand flats and the mud flats join up here with the salt marshes. And you can see all the glasswort growing behind me and the marsh grasses, and they have done their job and they have enabled the salt marshes to form. So you see on the salt marshes other plants that have taken a hold, such as sea aster, which is like a daisy, sea plantain, thrift, also known as sea pinks, and an abundance here of sea purslane. And sea purslane is a lovely, bushy, warm plant that gives great cover for roosting birds. A bit inland from the sand dunes are older, well-stabilised grassland dunes. They have a huge variety of plants which flower in spring and summer. Plants which vary from those you might see in a wildflower meadow to a myriad of different grasses, lichens and mosses. Yellow rattle is an important one, as it is semi-parasitic on grass and helps to keep them at bay so that other plants can thrive. Here you'll see bird's foot trefoil, vetches, willow herbs, purple toadflax, mallow, fumitory, cat's ear and so many others, too many to mention. We're here in a freshwater marsh. So a freshwater marsh is formed in the dips between dune complexes. So there's a hollow, and this allows rainwater to gather in the hollow, and then lots of plants can grow up that require fresh water. So you see plants here that you wouldn't expect to see maybe beside the sea or near sand dunes. And this particular marsh is called the alder marsh, and it's the biggest freshwater marsh on the island. It's so called because alder trees grow here. It's one right beside me. And you'd see these trees everywhere in Ireland, in the Midlands, on the coast, everywhere. And they're a thirsty tree, so that you know that there's a fresh water supply if you see the alders. And you'll also see plants like meadowsweet, horsetail, and all the usual things like buttercups and clovers here. So I'm here in the sand dunes. The sand blows off the beach and forms mounds. And this is a moving structure. It's in flux. And it requires the grasses to come along and to anchor it down. So basically the marram grass that we can see here, with this beautiful flower stem here, and its super strong, sturdy blades, anchors the sand and stops it from moving. So then along come other plants that can avail of the habitat. One particular family of plants which is fascinating is the pea family, and what these do is they take the nitrogen from the air. So you have clovers, I have rest harrow and peas, and they take the nitrogen from the air and they fix it into the soil. And this means that other plants can take advantage, plants that can only get their nitrogen from the soil. And so a whole ecosystem is born. I've walked the Bull Island in all seasons, watching these habitats which are intrinsically linked one to the other, gaining an understanding of their importance and appreciating their wildness and beauty. This place is a treasure for wildlife and has made me pause, look, think, and go on to create paintings which I hope pay homage to this wild place. What is more, it's not in some distant, remote location. How lucky are we that it's right here within our capital city for us to appreciate and enjoy, and most importantly, to protect for future generations.